Now, ladies and gentlemen, we would like to call on the stage Anmol Mishra, Director of Guwahati to Kohima, on stage for an interactive session. And I request Ms. Pallavi Borra to felicitate Anmol Mishra.
Thanks for the Damosa, did I pronounce it right? Yeah. So one of the scenes in the film is 101 uses for the Damosa. So we've got three backpackers who are going around and who make their journey from Guwahati to Kohima, and it essentially shows this region through the eyes of backpackers. The title is Guwahati to Kohima, and we'll be filming in the period of December to April, which happens to coincide with most of the festivals that happen in the region as well. I'll just talk about the background in terms of motivation, because I was born in Delhi, I grew up in Mumbai, and then I've been overseas for the last 17 years. And the last film that I made, it's called Aryans, and it's in post. It's kind of finishing off production, it's in post. And I had to deal with a part of our history. Essentially, all the history that we know about our country comes from three gentlemen, one called William Jones, one called Max Muller, and Baron Macaulay, Thomas Macaulay. And a lot of the scenes, the period work dates to the 17th and early 20th century in our country. Now I needed cutaways for a lot of the scenes. And for an indie film, you can't build a Hollywood-style set, right? So it's much easier to find parts of your own country which still have traditions and festivals that date back hundreds of years. That was my initial interest in the Northeast. And there was a similar interest in terms of Kerala as well, because they have Pongal and they have a lot of interesting festivals in that manner. The Northeast, because of various political reasons in the past, has had less development. The positive side of less development, as you get away from the cities, you find a culture and you find things that still seem as if they belong in another era. So Majuli is a fine example. I think Cherrapunji, if you avoid the trappings of civilization, if you film from some angle where you avoid the roads and the telephone poles and other trappings. So I was going to travel to the Northeast anyway to finish off the film that I'm finishing off right now. And then I met, sometimes fate intervenes, and I met a gentleman who was finishing off his play in Mumbai. And he's from Assam, he's from Guwahati. And his name is Prabal Kalita, he's also playing a lead role in the film. And I think he kind of inspired me to do more with the region, to travel around the region with him and see the region from a new perspective. And that's how the whole idea for a film related to the Northeast developed. Now I wrote the script myself, and the best stories are autobiographical. So even if you're writing something that's science fiction, for example, you can invent the background, but the characters and their motivation ultimately come from your own life, right? And as a part of finishing the script, I'll be traveling to the Northeast myself as a backpacker, and perhaps looking at this region, your region, from a different perspective, something that's maybe not as serious as some of the other films have dealt with. A lot of backpacking is about essentially finding new places that are undiscovered. So it's adventure tourism. And backpackers often don't worry about fancy hotels or roads. That's completely immaterial. It's more important to find something that's pristine, something that's cool. You find some old sculptures and there's no one around. Those sculptures date back thousands of years. That's cool. It doesn't matter that you waded through a forest and you've been bitten by 100 mosquitoes. It doesn't matter. You have that one selfie in a really cool spot, or you're on the top of a cliff and there's maybe a 20 feet jump into a water, so you do this cliff dive that no one else has done before. Or you're surfing, right? And you're carrying a surfboard in your back and you've got this one wave that no one has ever surfed before. So it's those kind of things. It's the cool aspect of backpacking through a region which is still relatively unexplored. Now when I say unexplored, you live here, so you know your backyard. So I think you would have traveled across, many of the places outside Assam as you go to Nagaland or Meghalaya as well. But for people outside the Northeast, I'm not even talking about outside the country, even people within India, the Northeast is this region where all they hear about is, there's some act of violence or something else happens over here. And it's very true, because in Delhi and Mumbai, that's the only news that comes out. I've spent, I have to be honest, I've spent 2 weeks here. And I've actually been traveling a bit because we taught dance workshops in a dance workshop in Shillong, and we've traveled around Guwahati. We've tried to take trips outside. This region, I guess, just the nature of people here is very, very calm and very, very friendly. I can't place a stereotype on a certain region because I haven't met everyone who lives here. But I would definitely like to, just the 2 weeks that I've here, it sparked my curiosity about the region. So I'll be coming back over a period of time over the next few months to finish off the script. And I can give you a brief, the whole 3-act play in terms of the characters. So you've got 2 people who are based in Delhi. They fall in trouble with the Delhi cops. One cop in particular has a thing for them and tries to follow them. One of the characters is from Guwahati. So this gentleman has a bright idea of going to Guwahati because he thinks the cops are not going to follow him. Except it's just one telephone call away and the cop lands here. So one of the characters has a Russian backpacker girlfriend. 3 of them join up here, the cops come after them and then move off. Now they can't go to the cities because the cities has a very strong police presence. So they go off further away from the cities to regions that are less explored. So that's kind of the rationale behind the film. What will be unique about the film? First, the music. We try not to produce music in a studio setting. So we'll be trying to record music, folk songs, as they are done outside with the singers and the musicians. Not inside a studio, we'll try and do it outside, as say a backpacker would experience them. There are 2 Western dances called Zoot and Bachata. And I think you can look them up because they're not as well known as say salsa or some of the Latin and ballroom dances. They're partner dances, they're very romantic. And some of the love ballads that I've heard would go really well with a backing track. So we'll be looking at doing Assamese songs with a Western backing track and a Western dance for at least 2 numbers. So that will be kind of unique. And let's see, what else do I have here? There's something else which I think I've forgotten. Background is a dancer. Damusa. It's just my memory, forgive me. Yes, the Delhi cop. So one of the things that I've been away from the country for 17 years and I've been a minority. I've lived in the States for 6 years and in Australia for 11. And I think one of the things that many people from the Northeast have to face, for example in Delhi, is discrimination. And the Delhi cop, he symbolizes, I guess, pretty much everything that a person in the Northeast would face in Delhi. So he has stereotypes and he uses rude words to describe people. And I guess that's kind of the serious part of the film, because everything is not perfect. So he's the bad guy, if anything. But he's more of a comic bad guy, because we don't want to try and make things too serious, because I think it kind of puts people off. So that's kind of the broad background of the movie, and I guess everything I could think of right now from my notes. And I'll leave, I guess, the rest of the time open for questions.
You'd be joined by Prabal, your lead actor,
for
the interactive session. So we have placed the seats and chairs there.
Okay, sure.
And I'm sure the audience would be keen to talk to you about your film and, of course, on filmmaking. And can I give it there?
Either way, I'd love to hold on to it if you don't mind. It looks really cool. It looks like I've done something useful. Okay, thank you.
And that's Prabal Kolita, the lead actor of Guwahati to Kohima. Over to you.
Yeah, well, at first, thank you so much. Thank you so much to this platform. And, well, it will be a kind of a Thanksgiving speech, because I really want to share this with you, because this platform means a lot to me. In a way, I just want to talk about my journey from last year and to where I stand now. So last year, I was a part of this event, I was not working in the company, but I was helping in the kind of promotion. And after I joined this workshop, before I joined the workshop, I had no clue for what I was going through in my life and what I was going to do in my life. In simple words, my profession, as a profession, I was into events. But my passion was always being a good actor. So my journey was completely different and my graph was totally different until then. And the day when I joined this workshop and I walked out from this place, I had a clear vision, clear idea about what I'm going to do ahead in my life. And yes, after this, I just took 6 months gap. I gave time to myself to settle down everything. And in between, I would also like to thank this team, the team of Brahmaputra Valley Film Festival, to give me the opportunity last year to work with them. And just after completing this workshop, I went to Bombay. I joined the acting institute over there, and that was a turning point over there. So thanks to Mr. Anmol Mishra, so he noted me over there, and he just called me, to have a conversation with him outside our theatre. So I went there, I had a chat with him, and he showed me his interest towards Northeast. So I just shared my idea, whatever I know. I don't have a clear that much idea about our history. I'm very sad to say that. But whatever I know about Northeast, I shared my ideas with him. And it was lucky me that he was already planning a trip to Guwahati, to Northeast, for his post-production of one of his movie for Aryan. I'm sure he told you guys about it. So it just last month we decided to come down to Guwahati and figure out what to do next. And we came here, we had a chat with the Barua family, and finally he is all done with his the skeleton of the movie, that's Guwahati to Kohima. And I'm really thankful this year that you have given us the opportunity to speak about our movie. And our director Anmol Mishra, he already described about our movie. So we will really need your support, people from Assam, to support us for our upcoming movie. And this will be my first work, on a project basis. So yeah, thank you, and thank you Tanushree ma'am for the last year for giving me the opportunity to work with you, and it was a turning point for my life. Thank you. And any questions regarding Guwahati to Kohima, if you want to ask, then Anmol Mishra sir is here. Thank you.
Good afternoon. To both the resource persons there. I'm Mr. Papino from Kohima. Just this morning I traveled from Kohima to Guwahati. I just want to ask a question about how much will it be a spectacle? Do you plan it, the movie to be a spectacular kind of a movie, or is it going to be a story, kind of the narrative?
It's a narrative. It's not documentary. It's a narrative.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's got a proper 3-act play, and it essentially goes through the experiences of 3 people backpacking through the Northeast.
So is it going to be kind of a very spectacular kind of a movie, or is it just kind of?
When you say spectacle, are you talking about sweeping panoramic shots?
Yeah, I mean quite a huge budget kind of, and very production. Wise, is it going to be a...
No, it's an indie film, so our production budget is around 30 lakh.
Okay.
And we are keeping the production and the marketing budget open at the moment.
Okay.
So I guess, it's an indie film. It's not really a big Bollywood blockbuster.
Okay, thank you.
So I think we are already done with the questionnaire round. So yeah, we would just love to end today's session over here. And once again, really thanks. We are thankful to this event organizer of BVFF and to all audience present here. And we are really looking forward for your support. And yeah, over to you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for having us here. And yeah, we hope to see you guys again. Hopefully the next iteration. We probably won't be ready by the next time the film festival comes in, but the year after that. Thank you.